Hi, boys and girls. Happy Friday. We made it through week 1 of NTI. That's pretty good, right? So today I'm going to be using this whiteboard. Let's see. How can we do this so you can see it a little bit better? There we go. That works a little bit. So today is 4/10/2020. It is our 5th day of NTI, and I think that it is our 136th day of school, not counting, our little hiatus that we took. But I have pulled up on the screen April's calendar, and you can see that I've added the 9th and the 10th to what our calendar has been. So I added the 9th as a birdie and the 10th as a flower. Now, I had 2 students who messaged me on Google Hangouts thinking that they knew what the pattern was, Daksha and Evelyn. So neither one were right. They were great guesses. They were very close, but I want you to continue thinking about this pattern. It is a little bit more difficult. And you have to think about the picture connected to the number. Okay. So what does the number 1 have to do with an umbrella and the fact that it's the only umbrella? So what would be special about the number 1? 2, 3, 5, and 7 are all purple squares. So what do they have in common? 4 and 9 are birdies. What do they have in common? 6, 8, and 10 are all pink flowers. So it's more than just even and odd because 1 and 3 are both odd. So it's not that. There's another connection between those numbers which make the pictures make sense. But we're going to think about the number 10 today. So because it's April 10th, let's see. Yeah, we'll just do this and I'll stand up. Okay, so the number 10, even or odd, if I draw 10 dots, can we say even or odd? We would say that that is even, okay? Because I can divide it in half equally. 5 plus 5 equals 10. Now, I can also say that this number is composite because it has more factors than 1 in itself. I can say 1 times 10 is 10. Technical difficulties. Okay, 1 times 10 is 10, but I also have 2 other factors that can multiply together to equal 5. Remember, factors are numbers that multiply together to equal that number. So I can use this and say 2 times 5 are also factors. So I can list my factors just like this. Okay? So we've done our 10. We've done our calendar. Now, I want you to think about a few problems that we're going to do together. Now, we've been doing fractions in math. Throughout next week, it's going to get a little bit more difficult. Here's a picture of a multiple choice question relating to fractions. So it says, Jessica made a quilt square that is 1/3 white. Which quilt square is 1/3 white? So you should be able to look at this and think, my thinking would be, which picture is divided into thirds? Which picture is 1/3 white? So I can tell that this picture right here is divided into fours. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's not going to be it. I'm going to mark that out. This has one part white, but one out of how many? This would be 1/4 white. Okay. Now this, does that have any white? No, so that doesn't make sense. And this is divided in half, so it would be 1/2 gray, 1/2 black. That doesn't match our criteria of 1/3 white. Now D has one section black, one section white, one section gray. Is this divided into thirds? Yes, it is. So I know my denominator is going to be 3 here. And how many parts are white? 1. So I know that this, boys and girls, shows 1/3 white. 1/3 white. Got it? Okay, now this is what we've done this week in math. We're going to use a number line to compare fractions. My first fraction number line is divided into thirds. So I've got 1/3, 2/3, and then 1. We can also say that this is 3/3. And I love how my ones are lined up perfectly together. My zeros are lined up perfectly together. So we have to compare. Down here, we're comparing 2/3 and 3/6. Now this week we focused on comparing fractions with the same denominator, and we've compared fractions with the same numerator. This has neither, but you have an example of a number line for both of these. You can use the number line to help you. So if I look at 2/3 right here, look, this is 2/3 right here on my number line. 3/6, I'm going to look at 3/6. It's right here. So I can tell, boys and girls, which one is closer to 1. If we're using our benchmark fractions, which one is closer to 1? This is the distance to 1 here. This is the distance to 1 here. Which one is closer to 1? Whichever fraction is closer to 1 is going to be bigger. So I can say that 2/3 is greater than 3/6 because it's closer to 1. 3/6 is equivalent to 1/2. So I can say that 3/6 is equal to 1/2. 2/3 is greater than 1/2. So then I know again 2/3 is greater than 3/6. Okay? Now we are going to do some mental math. I'm not going to write anything down. I just want you to think in your head. I am going to write it down on here. I want you to think about some problems in your head mentally. I don't want you to write these down. I just want you to solve them in your head. So we're going to go 342 plus 135. Now you should be thinking, do I have to regroup? If I do, how many times do I have to regroup here? Think for a second. Now you could do this multiple ways. You could think, add your hundreds, add your tens, add your ones. You don't have to regroup because none of the place values are greater than 10. So if I said 300 plus 100, that would give me 400. $300 plus 100. Then I can do 40. I'm breaking it down. Plus 30. That gives me 70. Up here, 300 plus 100 is 400. And 2 plus 5. You know 2 plus 5. 2 plus 5 is 7. So if I put all of these together, 400 plus 70 plus 7 equals 477. Got it? Okay, we're going to do one more, and I'm going to use a number line to help solve, to do this one. I'm not going to do it on, I'm going to make this screen a little bit bigger so we can see it a little bit better. We're going to do it on this whiteboard. Okay, so there we go. Okay, now I am going to do some mental math to add to 100. So I want to make 100. So I'm going to start with 45 plus what equals 100. Now, you know, I would use our bead string and I would just be thinking, what can I add to this number to equal 100? So I would start at 45, and how many ones am I going to add there to get to my next 10? I'm going to add 5 ones. That gives me 50. Now I know 50 plus what gets me to 100. 50, how many 10s do I have to add? Plus 50 more 10s equals 100. So I can say 50 plus 5 equals 45. Now I have to check that. I can stack it just to check. 0, 100, right? I could also subtract across zeros. And get the correct answer. Okay, so let's do one more and then we'll call it a day. And I want you to think about this mentally. So we're going to say 23 plus what equals 100. So right now you should be thinking in your head, 23 plus what equals 100. How many ones am I going to add to that to get to my next 10? So you should be thinking right now, 3 plus what equals 10? That's going to give me my next 10. This is what we call an open number line because I'm just making the number line what I need it. It's not labeled 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm making the number line what I need it. I'm starting at 23 and I'm going to 100. To figure out the distance between the two, that's going to give me this number right here. Okay, so I know if I add 7, that's going to give me my next 10, which is 30. I'm going to a friendly number. That's what we call this. I'm going to a friendly number because 30 is a lot easier to add to get to 100 than 23. So I want to add something that I know I can easily get to 100 with. And I know 30 plus what gives me 100. I know 30 plus 70. In order to make 10, I'm adding 7 more 10s to my 3 10s to get 100. So if I add my jumps together, 70 plus 7 gives us 77. 23 plus 77 equals 100. I can stack it over here to check my work. And I'm correct. Okay, so I really love using an open number line to help solve mental math problems. And I'm writing it down, but even I picture the number line in my mind when I'm solving, and I want you to try to do the same thing. Or whatever strategy you use in order to solve a problem like this, I want you to think, what can I do mentally to solve these problems? Okay? So I'm going to give you a challenge. First, I want you to come up with some calendar problems for me to do next week. Okay, and then I'll share and I'll give you a shout out. And then I also want you to find my YouTube channel on YouTube, because all of these videos are going to be on YouTube, and then you can go back and rewatch. You can make up your own problems and send them to me. I would love to get some problems from you all. So Google Hangouts, contact me through that, and send me some calendar problems to do next week. Okay. Have a great weekend, boys and girls, and I will see you Monday for calendar. Bye.